This is gonna hurt, but it's supposed to. Growth doesn't start with comfort. It starts with truth. The kind of truth that makes you shift in your seat. The kind that makes you want to argue back. Because if this were easy to hear, you would have changed already. Let me tell you something straight. Nobody wakes up excited to be told they're the problem. Nobody likes having the spotlight turned inward. But every real breakthrough in life begins with a moment like this. A moment where the excuses stop working. A moment where denial cracks. This isn't about shaming you. This is about waking you up. Because the pain you feel right now is nothing compared to the pain of staying the same for the next 10 years and wondering why nothing changed. This is the moment where honesty shows up. And honesty doesn't whisper. It hits you in the chest and says, pay attention. So let me ask you a question that might change everything if you let it. What if the thing holding you back is you? Not the system, not your childhood, not the timing. You. What if every time you said, I could have been more, there was a decision behind it you didn't want to own? Think about it. Same goals, same frustration, same year, different calendar. You're still waiting for the right break, the right mood, the right sign. But what if the real shift isn't out there? What if it's internal? That question scares people because it removes the safety net. Because once you admit it might be you, you can't hide anymore. But here's the upside. If you're the problem, then you're also the solution. And that means change is possible starting now, not someday. Because let's be real. It's not your past. It's not your boss. It's not your luck. Plenty of people came from worse situations and still built something meaningful. Plenty of people had bad days and still showed up. Plenty of people were scared and still took the shot. The difference isn't circumstances, it's choices. It's the decision to keep scrolling instead of starting, to stay quiet instead of speaking up, to quit when it gets uncomfortable. Every time you point the finger outward, you give your power away. And every time you do that, you stay stuck. If you keep blaming what happened to you, you never take control of what happens next. And if you don't control this, it will control you. Now listen carefully. This is a mirror, not an attack. I'm not here to tear you down. I'm here to show you where your strength actually is. A mirror doesn't judge. It just reflects. And what you do with that reflection is up to you. You can turn away and stay comfortable, or you can look straight at it and say, this is where it changes. Because awareness is not cruelty. Awareness is clarity. And clarity is the first step toward real power. You don't fix what you refuse to see. This moment isn't about blame. It's about responsibility. And responsibility is where growth lives. Here's why we blame everything except ourselves. Because blame feels safer than responsibility. Blame lets you breathe easy. It lets you say, it's not my fault, and go back to sleep. Responsibility, on the other hand, demands action. It demands effort. It demands consistency. And that's uncomfortable. Blame is a soft couch. Responsibility is a hard gym floor. One feels good now. The other makes you stronger later. Most people choose what feels good now and then wonder why they're weak later. Let me tell you something. Comfort has never built confidence. Avoidance has never built character. The life you want is on the other side of the thing you keep dodging. And behind every excuse is fear. Fear of failing. Fear of trying and still coming up short. Fear of effort without a guarantee. So instead of risking disappointment, people choose excuses. They say they're too busy, too tired, too late, too unlucky. But what they're really saying is, I'm scared to give my full effort and see what happens. Because if you try halfway and fail, you can blame the effort. But if you try all the way and fail, you have to face yourself. That's the fear. But here's the truth. You don't avoid pain by avoiding effort. You just delay it. And delayed pain always comes back heavier. Comfort now, regret later. That's the trade most people make without realizing it. Skipping the workout feels good today. Avoiding the conversation feels easier tonight. Staying silent feels safe in the moment. But fast forward a few years, your body feels weaker. Your relationships feel shallow. Your life feels smaller. Regret doesn't show up loudly. It shows up quietly, late at night, when you're alone with your thoughts, asking, What if I had tried? Short-term comfort always sends the bill later, and the bill is steep. The question is simple. Do you want the discomfort of discipline now or the discomfort of regret later? And here's the danger most people miss. When you blame long enough, victimhood becomes a habit. It becomes how you explain everything. Why you didn't start, why you didn't finish, why it's never the right time. And over time, that story becomes your identity. You stop saying I'm struggling and start living like this is just who I am. But that's a lie. You weren't born a victim. You practice becoming one. In anything you practice, you can unlearn. The moment you drop the story that life is happening to you and accept that your choices matter, everything shifts. Because the second you stop being the victim, you become the builder. And builders don't wait, they decide. Let's talk about the lie you keep telling yourself. The lie that sounds responsible, mature, even smart. I'm just waiting for the right time. You say it like patience is a virtue, like delay is discipline. But most of the time, it's not patience. It's fear wearing a clean shirt. The right time never shows up with a calendar invite. Nobody wakes up one day suddenly fearless, confident, and ready. Think about the people you admire, the ones who built something meaningful. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They moved while they were unsure. They started when it was messy. Waiting feels safe because it delays risk. But every delay quietly trains you to stay where you are. And if you keep waiting for the right time, one day you'll wake up realizing time waited on you and it ran out. Now let's talk about that voice in your head. You know the one. The voice that questions every move before you make it. The voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" It sounds logical. It sounds protective. But it's not there to help you grow. It's there to keep you small. That voice learned its script from past failures, from criticism, from moments where you tried and didn't work. And now it tries to keep you safe by keeping you stuck. But safety and growth don't live in the same place. Every person who ever changed their life had to learn this skill. Not silencing the voice, but not obeying it. Courage isn't the absence of doubt. It's acting while doubt is still talking. Then there's inconsistency, the silent dream killer. You get motivated. You start strong. You promise yourself this time is different. And for a few days, maybe a few weeks, you're on fire. Then life happens. You miss a day. Then two. Then you tell yourself you'll restart Monday. And suddenly months are gone. Dreams don't die from lack of talent. They die from stop and start effort. Momentum is fragile. It's built by showing up when it's boring, when nobody's watching, when the results aren't exciting yet. Inconsistency feels harmless in the moment, but over time, it erodes belief. Not belief in the goal, belief in yourself. And this is why so many people quit right before it starts working. Because progress is quiet before it's loud. Results lag behind effort. You plant seeds today and expect a harvest tomorrow, and when it doesn't show up, you assume it's not working. Think about going to the gym. For weeks, you feel sore, tired, impatient. The mirror doesn't change right away, but something is happening underneath the surface. Strength is building before it's visible. Most people quit in that invisible phase. They don't fail. They leave too early. If you don't understand this, you'll always stop one step before the breakthrough, which leads to the hardest truth. Same habits, same results, every time. You can't repeat the same routines and expect a different outcome. That's not hope. That's denial. Look at your days, not your intentions, your days. How you start them, how you end them, what you do when you're tired, what you do when no one is pushing you. Those patterns are speaking louder than your goals. And until you change the pattern, the result stays the same. Awareness isn't about guilt. It's about honesty. And honesty is where change begins. Now, here's the moment everything starts to shift. When you look back at your failures, your false starts, your missed chances, instead of seeing bad luck, you see a pattern. Same reactions, same decisions, same excuses, different situations, same outcome. That's not an insult. That's information. Because if there's a pattern, there's something you can work with. Successful people don't have fewer failures. They study them better. They ask, what did I do here? What choice did I repeat? When you stop seeing failure as random and start seeing it as feedback, you stop feeling cursed and start feeling capable. And yes, that realization stings. It hurts to admit that some of the pain could have been avoided, that some doors closed because you didn't knock hard enough, that some chances passed because you hesitated. But that sting is important. Pain with a lesson is growth. Pain without a lesson is suffering. This discomfort isn't here to punish you. It's here to wake you up. Growth always costs something, usually comfort, usually pride. But the cost of staying the same is higher. That pain just spreads out over years and turns into regret. Here's where people get it wrong. They think responsibility means blame. It doesn't. Responsibility is clarity. It's seeing the situation clearly enough to know what you can control. When you say, this is on me, you're not saying I'm terrible. You're saying I have influence. And influence is power. Blame keeps you stuck in the past. Responsibility puts you back in the driver's seat. You can't change what happened, but you can change what happens next. And that's where your focus belongs. Because if it's you, it can change. That's the hope most people miss. If everything were truly out of your control, you'd be helpless. But you're not. You have choices. You have habits. You have today. People rewrite their stories every day, not with massive moves, but with small, consistent decisions, a different response, a better standard, a refusal to quit this time. Change doesn't require a new life. It requires a new approach. Responsibility equals choice, and choice equals freedom. The more responsibility you take, the more options you create. When you own your actions, your reactions, your effort, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for rescue. You realize that no one is coming. And that's not scary. That's empowering, because now you get to decide. Every day, you choose who you're becoming. And every choice is a vote for the future version of you. Blame, on the other hand, gives away your power. Every excuse hands control to something else, to the past, to other people, to circumstances. And once you give power away, you can't use it. You can't fix what you refuse to own. That's why blaming feels good but changes nothing. It explains. It doesn't improve. And if you don't control this, it will control you. But when you own it, you can fix it. Ownership builds confidence because it proves to you that your actions matter. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you rebuild trust. Every time you choose effort over excuses, you strengthen belief. Confidence doesn't come from winning all the time. It comes from knowing you'll show up no matter what. That's something no one can take from you. So take it back. This is where your power lives. Not in wishing, not in blaming, not in waiting, in deciding. Decide to act even when it's uncomfortable. Decide to stay consistent when it's boring. Decide to own your choices instead of explaining them away. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are at a moment of decision, and what you do next matters more than anything that came before. Motivation is a mood, and moods change. They rise and fall like the weather. One day you feel unstoppable. The next day you don't feel like getting out of bed. If your progress depends on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline is different. Discipline is a system. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what needs to be done. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wait for motivation. You don't need a speech. You do it because it's part of your system. The people who win aren't more motivated than you. They're more structured. They don't rely on feelings. They rely on habits. Motivation starts things. Discipline finishes them. And if you don't build discipline, your goals will always be at the mercy of your emotions. If you wait to feel ready, you'll be waiting forever. Let me tell you something straight. Ready is not a feeling that shows up. It's a decision you make. Nobody feels ready before doing something hard. The first day at a new job feels awkward. The first workout feels painful. The first step feels uncomfortable. That's normal, but too many people sit on the sidelines waiting for confidence to arrive before they move. Confidence doesn't arrive first. Action does. Every delay trains your brain to avoid. Every excuse strengthens hesitation. If you don't move now, fear gets louder. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets to start. Start messy. Start unsure. But action creates confidence, not the other way around. Confidence is not something you think your way into. It's something you earn. You earn it by showing up, by doing the thing you said you would do, even when it's uncomfortable. Look at anyone you admire. Athletes, leaders, creators. They didn't wake up confident. They built confidence. One rep, one attempt, one failure at a time. Confidence is the result of proof. Proof that you can handle discomfort. Proof that you don't quit when it gets hard. Waiting for confidence before action is like waiting to get strong before lifting the weight. That's not how it works. You lift first. Strength follows. You don't negotiate with gravity. You respect it. Gravity doesn't care how motivated you are. Step off a ledge and it will pull you down every time. Discipline works the same way. There are laws to progress. Show up consistently. Do the work. Repeat. Ignore those laws and you don't get a different outcome. You get consequences. You don't argue with gravity. You build systems that work with it. You don't rely on feelings. You build routines that carry you when feelings fail. That's how real change happens. You don't rise above your identity. You act in alignment with it. If you see yourself as someone who quits, you'll quit. If you see yourself as someone who follows through, you'll follow through. Your identity is the root. Behavior is the fruit. This is why change feels hard when your self-image stays the same. You can't hate yourself into a better life. You have to decide who you are becoming, not someday, now. Every action you take is a vote for that identity. The question is simple. Who are you voting for today? There's a difference between victim thinking and builder thinking. Victim thinking asks, why is this happening to me? Builder thinking asks, what can I do with what I have? Victims wait, builders adjust. Victims explain, builders act. Life is unfair to everyone. That's not the divider. The divider is response. One mindset keeps you stuck in the story. The other moves you forward. You don't need perfect conditions. You need responsibility. Builders don't deny difficulty. They just don't let it decide their future. So who are you when no one's watching? Not when you're posting, not when you're talking, when it's quiet, when no one is clapping. That's who you really are. Character is built in private. Standards are revealed in private. If you cut corners when no one sees, you're training yourself to be unreliable. But if you show up when no one's watching, you're building something unshakable. Integrity is self-respect in action. And self-respect changes how you move through the world. Your thoughts are seeds. What you plant is what you harvest. Feed your mind excuses and you'll grow limits. Feed it responsibility and you'll grow strength. You don't control every thought, but you control which ones you water. Speak to yourself like someone you're responsible for, because you are. Change the inner dialogue and the outer results follow. Every result starts as a belief. Choose better seeds. Your life is built on ordinary days, not big speeches, not dramatic moments, ordinary days. What you do on a random Tuesday matters more than what you promise on January 1st. People overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. Real change is quiet. It's boring. It's repetitive. And that's why it works. If you're waiting for a big moment, you're missing the small ones that actually build your life. Small promises kept to yourself create trust. Every time you say you'll do something and you don't, you lose trust with yourself. And when self-trust is broken, motivation disappears. Start small. Keep it doable. Show yourself that you can be relied on. Confidence is built through self-trust, and self-trust is built through follow-through, not perfection, consistency. Consistency beats intensity every time. Intensity burns out. Consistency builds momentum. Anyone can go hard for a week. Winners go steady for years. You don't need to do everything. You need to do something repeatedly. Progress compounds. Miss a day, don't quit. Miss a week, don't disappear. Get back on track. Consistency is not about never failing. It's about never quitting. Raise the standard and the outcome changes. Standards decide behavior. Behavior decides results. If your standard is only when I feel like it, your results will be average. If your standard is, I do what I said I would do, your life changes. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your standards. Raise them. Now picture your life if nothing changes. Same routines, same habits, same excuses, same frustration. A year passes, 5 years pass, 10. How does that feel? That picture isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Time doesn't slow down because you're unsure. It keeps moving and it takes opportunities with it. Regret is the price of avoidance. It's quiet at first. It whispers, then it grows louder. Most regret doesn't come from failure. It comes from never trying, from playing small, from choosing comfort over growth. Regret lasts longer than fear, and it's heavier. You don't get time back. Every day spent avoiding is a day you can't recover. Money can return, opportunities can return, time doesn't. That's why urgency matters, not panic. Urgency. Respect the clock. Use today. This is the fork in the road. One path is familiar, comfortable, predictable. The other is uncomfortable, demanding, but it leads somewhere new. Both paths cost something. Choose your cost. This was never an insult. It was an invitation. Being the problem means you can also be the solution. This message wasn't meant to tear you down. It was meant to hand your power back. Awareness changed everything. You saw the patterns, you saw the habits, you saw the truth. And truth creates options. You're no longer stuck in confusion, you're standing in clarity. Ownership is the turning point. This is where change becomes real. Not when you feel inspired, when you decide to take responsibility. Responsibility is strength. Responsibility is freedom. So take responsibility, take control, take your life back. Decide who you are today, not tomorrow, today. Show up, do the work, repeat. This is your moment, and it starts now.